Hello, my name is Herman Kelly and I am Irish Freedom Party President and candidate for the County Louth in the general election. I want to talk today about the housing crisis, which has been on the go for some time. As you know, housing supply in Ireland cannot keep up with housing demand. Why? Well, this is a clue. Since 1995, our population has increased from 3.5 million to 5.3 million. It's gone up over 42% in less than 30 years. So that gives you an idea. Government tell us at the moment that we need to build 50,000 houses per year. That's not possible. The reason why is, one, we don't have the finance. EU state aid rules and the Growth and Stability Pact, its regulations. We are members of the European Union and we can only have public debt up to a certain percentage. So the Irish state will not be able to take debt or loans in order to build 50,000 houses per year. Also, we won't have enough water or electricity to connect to these houses. Why? Hey, by the end of this decade, 29% of our electricity will be used on data centers for multinational corporations. So we simply don't have the electricity, nor do we have the workers. People who are pastors and builders, they need houses too. And builders with young families can't afford a house in Ireland either. So what do? They're emigrating to Australia and Canada. So what the government promises and what Sinn Féin promises simply isn't possible. Let's look at the Sinn Féin idea. Now, they're not even promising home ownership. They are offering you a leasehold of a property, and they will determine, as the government, to whom you can sell your house and how much you can sell your house for. I find it hard to believe that any bank would give people a mortgage to buy a leasehold like that with such conditions. That's not private property. That's not home ownership. That's you getting a loan of a house from the state on a temporary basis. That is soft Marxism in practice. The state really owns a property and you basically get a lease on it. That's not a good offer. We need to be a free people in a free country, not to be dependent on the state all the time. So the Irish Freedom Party suggests solutions to the housing crisis. Number one, we need to curb demand for houses. House prices go up and apartment rentals go up because demand increases. It's the basic law of supply and demand. In immigration and demand for houses is going up. Basically, as I said, we don't have the money, don't have the water connections, we don't have the electrical connections at the minute, we don't have the workers to supply more and more houses. So the only thing we can do to cool demand in the housing market is to curb and control immigration. There are far too many people coming here, many of whom we don't know their names, we don't know where they're from, we don't know do they have a criminal record. But bottom line is they have mouths to feed and they want somewhere to stay. We don't have houses to give them. So first thing we must do, that the Irish Freedom Party would do, is to curb and control the numbers of people coming into our country through immigration, because we do not have the houses to give them. Number two, the Irish Freedom Party will endeavour to use public land for the building of cheaper houses for those on the average wage. The state has a bank of public land, and we believe that these should be released for the building of more and cheaper houses to help people, especially, for example, where couples who were teachers or guards years ago could easily buy a house. That's beyond the reach of many people now. We believe that is not right, and therefore the state should release banks of public land that houses can be built there and they can be sold to first-time buyers on the average wage. Not everybody is rich, but everybody who works should really, as a minimum, be able to buy a house. Point number three, we will put Irish first-time buyers first. We are not, as a people, put on earth to provide profits for cuckoo funds and vulture funds and profiteers in property. The Irish Freedom Party will tax vulture funds and cuckoo funds out of profit, so they will leave the housing market and put the houses that they possess back in the market that Irish first-time buyers can buy them. We will tax vulture funds and REITs into the ground, that they can no longer buy up banks of newly built houses, and instead these houses will be available on the housing market for first-time buyers. Point number four, it will be our policy to put locals first. It's unfair that local people who have lived in an area for generations are basically put out of the housing market by people who have only arrived in from whatever countries, etc. We will put local people first who have a history in the community, that it is important to keep the bonds that bind us together as a community and as a society together. So we will put local people first in communities where they can show that they have that their family has lived for some time. Second part of this, in regards to social housing, is that there will be one list and that Irish people come first. It is disgraceful that Irish people can be on the social housing list for 10 and 15 years in some cases, whereas someone can get off a plane from some country and they will go straight to the top of the housing list and get a house immediately. There's been many cases of this. This is unfair. This causes resentment. And we believe that the Irish state is set up for the benefit of Irish citizens, and therefore Irish citizens and local people should be first on the social housing list. Point number 5. The Irish Freedom Party will ensure that illegal demand for houses is curbed. It is completely unfair that people who have entered into Ireland illegally without any passport, like for example, 85% of people who apply for asylum in Dublin Airport, 85% of them, we don't know, they claim that they've lost their passport. So we don't know who they are, where they're from, or do they have a criminal record. We will no longer incentivise people to enter Ireland illegally. Anybody who enters Ireland illegally will never, ever, we must promise that they will never achieve Irish citizenship, and they will never be given a free social house by the Irish state. It's simply unfair. The Irish state is for the benefit of Irish people, not for economic chancers. Point number 6, in what they call brownfield housing. We will incentivise through tax relief that buildings or underutilised buildings in towns and cities around Ireland the owners will be incentivised to convert these into apartment blocks and houses that people can live in them. Because hey, it doesn't do any good that there's vacant and dilapidated buildings in the centre of our town. Big problem in Ireland is a shortage of, there has been numerous banks have left the Irish market in the last number of years. We will do everything possible to try to attract more banks back into the Irish market, and also make it easier for the credit union or credit unions in Ireland to lend to Irish people that they may buy. We will try every move possible to make finance for first-time buyers easier and give the banks and credit unions an incentive to lend to these people. The Irish Freedom Party, we believe we put forward a number of solutions which are based on reality, an open market. What should be an open market in housing? We want to return that to equilibrium by decreasing the demand caused by mass immigration, by, as I said, taxing vulture funds and REITs out of the market to give first-time buyers, Irish first-time buyers, a much better chance of being able to buy a house. We believe that house ownership is a good thing, and that this leasehold idea by Sinn Féin is a terrible idea because it makes people dependent on the state, and where they don't have freehold possession of a private property, that's not home ownership. This idea of they're going to build 50,000 homes per year as well by the Uni Party or Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, it won't happen. Why? Because they don't have the financial means of doing so, as I have explained, as well as the water and electricity connections and the workers to build these houses. So the main vehicle to create a situation in which young Irish people once again can afford and attempt to buy a housing is to curb immigration, to tax a vulture and REITs into the ground, to incentivise new bank and credit union entrance into the market, to incentivise owners to do up delinquent or vacant buildings, that they turn these former business premises into apartments, etc. I believe is a very good move. I would ask you, as President of the Irish Freedom Party, who's running in the general election in County Louth, to give us your support, to join the party if you can, and most especially tell your family and friends about the Irish Freedom Party. We are putting forward a number of candidates in the general election, and we would seek your support. Go on, Margaret.